Hello, welcome to my tutorial for Hearts of Iron 4. This is a beginner's tutorial guide for the video game Hearts of Iron 4. Nah, I'm just kidding. How's it going, gamers? Today we're going to be learning, it's me, TV Gabe, and today we're going to be learning how to play Hearts of Iron 4 with this epic, simple tutorial video. So I'm going to ditch the face cam and let's get right into this right now. So here we are in the game Hearts of Iron 4, and well, we're going to start off left to right on this little tab, on these tabs up here. So first thing we're going to start off with, click on the flag, and this over here, national focus shortcut right here. This national focus, this is how you it's like the story of the game, essentially. You just go through this focus tree as, well, right now I'm playing as Germany, so I have the German focus tree, and you go through this to continue the game, essentially, and, go down this, always start with Rhineland, but focus tree is pretty simple. Just go down the focus tree, like this, just go down, just go down whatever path you want, really. Mainly as Germany, you want to, go down here, and just sort of work your way, down. But it's pretty simple, nothing too complicated. So, yeah. Now, the next thing is political power, which there's two things you can do with political power, or a few things you can do with political power. Number one is all of these things right here, like we have partial mobilization, and you can assign, political advisors and army staff and stuff. You assign these guys using political power, and you want to assign these guys to give your country some buffs, like construction speed and all that stuff. Or you can assign them, like this guy gives communist daily communist support, 0.10. So if you wanted to flip to communist, you'd hire this guy. Another thing is you have partial mob, early mob civilization or civilian economy, and you want to go down all the way to war economy as soon as you can, because civilian economy gives you a bunch of debuffs and all that stuff. But yeah, you use political power here. Another place you use political power is on the decisions tab, which is right next to the flag, which we just clicked on. And here you can just do things like, this stuff. None of this is really too important, so don't really worry about it that much. Another thing you can do with political power is just go to different countries, and you can do stuff like stage a coup, which costs political power, and you can boost your own party popularity. So I can boost fascism in Poland, and do all that kind of stuff for political power. You also justify wars using political power. So political power is very important. So yeah, the next thing, which is right beside the decisions tab, is the research tab. Now, research is pretty simple. You just go through the technologies in the game. You have industry, engineering focuses, air focus. You got doctrines like air doctrine, naval doctrine, infantry doctrine, which you can go down any of these, which give you buffs to the army if you go down infantry doctrine, buffs to the navy if you go down naval doctrine, buffs to the air force if you go down the air doctrine. Each doctrine in the doctrine thing gives different buffs and stuff. It doesn't matter too much. It kind of does, but so yeah, research, just go down the research stuff. You usually want to get support equipment in the beginning, and you want to go down these industry researches and mechanical engineering and stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically research. Now, next thing on the tab list is diplomacy, which there's not really much to it. From the diplomacy tab, you just click on countries, and you can choose to justify war, ask for military access, and all that stuff. And you can tell whether they'd accept a non-aggression pact. Poland would not accept a non-aggression pact because they don't like me very much. So can't really do much there. Also, you can check the details. So if you click on a country, you're on diplomacy, then you can click details, and you can see an estimate of how many factories, divisions, planes, and all that kind of stuff they have, manpower. And that's pretty important information to know. And the higher you get certain technologies, the more accurately you'll be able to tell what their stuff is. But yeah. Next thing on the list is trade. Trade's pretty simple. You see the resources that you have or lack. Like for example, I lack rubber, so I mean I'm just gonna trade with Siam. It automatically like tells you you can get or use one civilian factory to get 8 rubber from them. We only need 8 rubber because we're missing 5, so you just get that, and now we're no longer in a deficit of rubber. You can also trade for oil, like to boost up your fuel capacity, or to fill your fuel capacity, and you know, just slide it, buy some oil. Nothing too complicated. Now, the next tab is construction, which is important. From here you can build civilian factories, military factories, dockyards, which you know, you can build all these. You can build refineries, fuel silos. Fuel silos boost your maximum fuel capacity. Synthetic refineries give you resources like rubber and oil. Naval dockyards are used to build ships. Military factories are used to build weapons. And civilian factories are used to build every other type of thing, like everything else. Infrastructure you build in, the more infrastructure a province has, the faster things are built in it. And also, if you build infrastructure in areas with resources, it boosts the amount of resources in it. So it's 90 plus 16 once the infrastructure is done. You also build air bases, which house planes, anti-air, which shoots down planes. You can build forts and province tiles to help with defense. You can build ports, which houses navies, coastal forts, which helps against naval invasions. And you can convert factories from civs to military factories by just, you know, doing that. So moving the factories over, switching them back, and it's not too complicated. It's pretty simple. Now, the next thing is the production tab, which, as you can see, here's what we're building, and the amount of military factories you have depends on, or dictates how much you can produce. So, for example, here I have 10 military factories on infantry equipment, so I'm building more infantry equipment than I would if I had only 2 military factories on there. And I mean, you build things like planes, motorized tanks, artillery, support equipment, infantry. The way you know what you need to build, or it tells you what you need to build. So if I stop producing support equipment, I should get a notification saying that I need to produce support equipment once I unpause the game or something, because my divisions that I have use support equipment. So yeah, I need support equipment, that kind of stuff. And if you go over here to the logistics, you can see how much infantry or how much equipment you have in the field. Like right now we have a positive stockpile of 53 guns. It's not that many, but it tells you how much you're producing of each type of equipment, how many you already have, or how much you already have, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's pretty simple. You know, just build the factories wherever you want. You usually want to always produce a bunch of support equipment, a bunch of fighters, you know, a bunch of casts. That's more late game, so, I mean, just build some stuff. Now, the next thing is recruitment and deploy. Now, this is where you train, like, divisions, or pump out new divisions. So I click train, and I can add more divisions in. Now, I don't have any equipment stockpiled up, so it's telling me that you have no equipment to train these divisions, which I can still leave them in queue, and the equipment will fill up over time in my stockpile. Like right now, it tells me I need 5.3 thousand guns to actually build these 6 divisions. And you know, you have panzer divisions, infantry, mountaineer divisions, cavalry divisions, motorized. Motorized move faster than standard infantry. Panzer divisions are tanks. Mountain infantry moves better in mountains. I mean, self-explanatory. And to change, or to look at what your infantry division template has, you just click Edit on the division template. So here's my infantry division template. It's 18 combat width, so it has 9 little things here. And they have engineer companies and support artillery, so in order to support this division, I'd have to be building support equipment, artillery, and infantry equipment. Usually you want to make your divisions 20 width, so you'd add an extra infantry battalion in. I can't do that right now, because to edit your division template, you have to have army experience, and you get army experience by just like training your divisions like this, and that'll give you army experience over time. You get army experience also by fighting in wars, and by assigning certain like advisors and stuff using political power. Now the next tab is the logistics tab, which we already looked over. Tells you the equipment you need, equipment you have, equipment you're producing. But if we look up above those tabs that we were just looking at, we can see things like stability, war support, the amount of manpower you have, the amount of factories, your fuel, the amount of convoys you have, and then you can see command power, army experience, navy experience, and air experience. Political power, we already went over that. Stability is, I mean, essentially you want to keep high stability in your country, because the lower stability you have, the more likely you can get things like revolts, civil wars, stuff like that. War support, you want to keep war support high while you're at war, because when it's low, it gives debuffs to you. The manpower is the amount of men you can recruit into the field. Like, for example, I have 1.26 million manpower. As I recruit more divisions, the amount of manpower goes down, as you can see, because I'm putting more men into the army, so I have less manpower, like, backed up. If you hover over manpower, you can see the amount of men you have in the field and in training. Right now I have 269,000 men in the field. And the amount of manpower you have changes. Like, for example, right now I'm on limited conscription, which only gives you 2.5% of your population goes into the manpower, into your manpower pool. So if I went up to extensive conscription using political power, then I'd get 5%, which would essentially double the amount of men I have, or the amount of manpower I have. And it works like that. Factories, you know, it's just the amount of mills, civs, and naval dockyards you have. Fuel, it's your fuel silos. You fill them up when you get oil, access to oil. Convoys, you produce convoys with the naval thing. Convoys are used just to, like, trade with nations from around the world. You mostly need them if you're just like a island nation. So Britain, if you're playing Britain, you really need convoys, like a lot of convoys. Germany, you don't really need them that much. Army experience, you just get army experience by training divisions or fighting in wars. Navy experience you get by exercising your navy or fighting naval battles. And air experience you get by exercising your air force or fighting in air battles. And it's essentially that simple. You can edit your aircraft by going over, like I have fighter here, and then you can create variant. And this is how you use air experience. You can improve engine, range, reliability, weapons to make your planes and ships do the same thing with ships, make them better. It's that simple. Now if we look over to the side, you can see the date. It's January 1st, 1936. You can see the world tension. Right now it's at 0%. As the world tension rises, that means, like, more things can happen. Like right now, or I don't know if Germany can justify from beginning, but I don't think so. Like, for example, you can't justify wars on other nations in the beginning of the game because you need world tension to be high enough to do that. And also, like, certain countries can't join factions until the world tension gets high enough, like the United States. So you just need to keep an eye on world tension, you know, see that kind of thing. Down here over on the bottom right, you can see the different map modes. Like we have, right now we're on the default map mode. Then we go down to naval map mode, and we can see our navy, and you can see the total size of our navy right over here. Just mess with it, put it in dockyards and all that stuff. And to control your navy, there are a few things you can do with them. You can put them on strike force, so they can get naval superiority in a certain sea region. You can put them on convoy raiding, which raids enemy convoys. Convoy escort, which protects your own convoys. Patrol, which just sets your boats out on patrol. Naval exercises, and naval invasion support. And you can just hold them in dock. Submarines are used best for convoy raiding, obviously. Main battle fleet, just use it for strike force. That's about it with that. There's also the aerial map mode, which you can see all the planes you have, and you can, like, put them in stockpile and then put them back out later, like this. And then the way to control your planes is you put them over a certain air district. Like I have 80 bombers here, so I just right click on the this air section, and then you can set them on close air support, strategic bombing, that kind of thing. Depending on what plane it is, like fighters can go on aerial superiority and interception, close air support goes on close air support, bombers go on strategic bombing, naval bombers go on naval strike to, you know, do some stuff. Close air support, by the way, gives you, it essentially gives your troops on the ground, or they attack enemies on the ground, so they do damage to enemy troops on the ground. And you want to produce fighters so you can get aerial superiority in regions, because the more fighters you have, the more you can get superiority in the air. For example, I'm not at war with anyone, so I'm not contested in the air. But once my planes get up, if they do get up, I don't know if it'll show them on war, but anyways, that's how planes work. I mean, the other map modes are the main important ones is supply. I mean, if you have too many troops in one state or in one area of supply, your supply will be bad, and and your divisions will take attrition. There's terrain map mode, which no one ever uses. There's resistance map mode, which shows the resistance in certain provinces. Right now we have 0 resistance in every province. There's appliance map mode. Actually, I don't know what that does. Resource map mode, which shows the resources in every province you own. There's infrastructure map mode, which shows the infrastructure. And there's faction map mode, which shows you the factions. Right now, there's, at the beginning of the game, there's the Allies, Axis, Comintern. That's about it. So I already said how to recruit divisions and all that kind of stuff. But in order to use divisions, I'm just going to place them all into one army. So we have 30 divisions. And what you can do with these is you can assign commanders to those. We're just going to get Rommel. He's not a good infantry commander, but he's fine. And then usually most commanders have a maximum division like oversight of like 24 divisions. So you can only stick 24 divisions per commander. So you can't just stick like 100 divisions under one commander, because there will be a bunch of debuffs to the commander and the divisions. And what you do with divisions is you just line them up on borders. Well, hold up. First, also, once you get commanders, then you can get, like, create army groups. And so I can assign even, essentially, a better commander over the commander that's already in the field, so I can get this guy. And that gives even more buffs to your army. And divisions, you can line them up on borders using... Hold up. You can line them up on borders using the front line thing. You just line them up. Like I got them on the border of Poland. You can use naval invasion orders, which goes from a dock to another dock. You can do, you can exercise them right here. You can do fallback lines, which this is how you really line up divisions on like strategic points away from your front line. So I can just put them along this river here, which gives them more defense. And you can also do garrison, so you can get them to garrison the coast, and to get them to only and you can like sort of designate what parts they garrison. So I can unselect all these things, and now they're only garrisoning the port. So if I unpause it, they'll go over and garrison the ports I told them to garrison. But not going to do that. What you do with front lines, the easiest way to do it is to push, is you just get the front line, and you get this offensive line button, and you can just draw an offensive line into the enemy territory. And to enact the offensive line option, you just click activate over the commander, and now they'll go. Well, they won't go yet because I'm not even at war with Poland, but that's how it works. I mean, it's about all there is in terms of army. Usually you want to keep like infantry in one army, and you want to separate things like tanks into different armies to go under more specific like tank commanders, so they can do like sort of like little pinpoints of attack, you know, concentrated heads of attack, and the infantry just push along the whole front, that kind of thing. I guess I'll show combat. So I'll go into like console to declare war on Poland, essentially. Alright, so I finished justifying my war goal against Poland, and to declare war, just declare war. You can choose to call your allies, choose not to call your allies, all that kind of stuff. I don't have any allies, so I can't call any, but, you know, just to show you the combat. Now, I wouldn't recommend declaring war on Poland at the start of the game, because you don't have near as many divisions as the Polish have, but I am just showing you how it works. So we have planes, you can put them up, air superiority, close air support, interception, strategic bombing, yada yada yada. And look, for example, since I put them up, we have green air against the Poles. You click on the air zone, you can see we're doing 1.6 damage to enemy forces on the ground using our close air support. And that's how aircraft works. The Polish don't really have that much of an air force, so it's not that big of a deal. But if you look over here, green bubbles means we're holding, like the Polish are attacking me right now in Prussia. So the green bubble means we're winning, or we're successfully defending against the Polish attack. Red bubble means we're losing, and yellow bubble means we're probably about to lose, or win. I mean, I don't know. And I can just attack by either just selecting some divisions and right-clicking on an enemy division, and they attack, just like that, and you can see the organization go down. We push a tile, and for grand offensive, just click that, and all your divisions on the front line will just go and, you know, just push in or do whatever. And yeah, that's essentially how the combat works in this game. It's pretty simple, actually. And maybe I overestimated Poland's strength, but you know, whatever. So I'm gonna win this war to show you how peace conferences work. Oh, also one note: supply in this game works so where you're supplied from your capital. So, for example, my capital's over here. All my divisions are connected to my capital through sea routes and through land routes. If my capital was completely surrounded by Polish forces and no supply could get out of my capital, then all these divisions that I have over here would be taking attrition. And that's what's happening to these divisions right here that I encircled with my army. They have a port, but since Poland doesn't have any other access points to the sea, and their capital's right here, that means they don't get any supply. So essentially they're easy to kill, and you can get a lot of casualties by getting encirclements. And that's how supply works and encirclements work, so just so you know. Another thing to check whenever you're at war is the war window, which shows who's at war, and the casualties, and the estimated division, factories, all that kind of stuff. So I have 35 divisions, the Polish have between 20 and 31, not sure how many. I have more factories, and you can see how close they are to capitulation. Poland's 70% towards capitulation. You can see they've taken 200,000 casualties, all to me, or all by, yeah, whatever. And I've taken 23,000 casualties. So yeah, just check that. You can also check here. It's saying I don't have enough manpower to fill my garrisons. And the garrisons are all this new Polish land. Essentially what it means is all the Polish people are not happy about being occupied. The amount of unrest in the provinces will go down over time as I occupy them more, but you know, just keep an eye on that, because what uprisings can do is they can just damage infrastructure and civilian factories and military factories that are in the region of the uprising. And really the only way to put those kind of things down is to, like, if you click on here, you can look at occupied territories, and you can do the you can change your kind of oversight of the region. So you can do brutal occupation, no garrison at all, martial law, that kind of stuff. Usually I just don't even mess with it, because it usually dies down over a pretty quick period. So the last thing to look at is, here's a peace conference. You see how much equipment you got from the nation you capitulated. I got a bit of equipment, get the event, and then you can see like what kind of things you can do to Poland. So I can, like, you know, take this territory, boom, it's part of Germany now. And then, I don't know, then you can do whatever you want. Like, I can liberate some countries, I can puppet Poland, I can satellite the liberated countries. So I think I'm just gonna randomize this, and I'm just gonna puppet the rest. The borders look a bit disgusting, but it's just showing you all that kind of stuff. So now, if I look at the faction map mode, since they're my puppets, the axe looks like this now. And, you know, just look in, see fastest Poland, and the nations I liberated. What even are those? I don't know. But it doesn't matter. That's peace deals, that's war. Essentially that's everything in the game. I mean, not really much more to it. It's pretty simple. Oh, I can invite Italy to the Axis. I'm not going to. But, you know, that's how the game works. I hope this was helpful for you. So, yeah, that's where this is going to end. Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to click off the video right now.